Welcome to Unlocking the Truth, another podcast on Dr. Lesley Phillips.
Hello listeners, welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name's Dr. Lesley Phillips and I am your host for the next hour, and I'm joined by Corey.
Hello.
And let me introduce you to the show in case you're a first time listener. Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show and we cover topics in metaphysics and spirituality, and we also invite you to phone up and join in the discussion and also phone up with your questions. And you can have questions about things you want to learn about, or if you are undergoing some challenges in your life, whether it's your relationships, career, money, health, or you want to know your life purpose or ask about your own intuition, then you can call us. And we open the phone lines partway through the show in about 15 minutes from now. If you want to write down the number, I'll give it to you though. It's 604-504-7441, extension 4142. So, 604-504-7441 gets you through to the switchboard, and then you just have to dial 4142 to get to the studio line. And you're also able to email info@drlesleyphillips.com. So every week we have a different discussion topic, and tonight's topic is belief in God and what it means. And the reason I came up with that topic is I was actually just going to do beliefs and belief systems. And then I noticed in our calendar that the podcast for the show that's coming out tonight on drlesleyphillips.com podcasts is beliefs. So I've already done a show on beliefs, and if you go to drlesleyphillips.com, it'll be the one at the top of the podcast list. So tonight we're going to do belief in God, mankind's belief in God. And
we're talking about everybody's belief in God tonight?
Actually, we
All
are.
of mankind?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
And so there are 7 billion people approximately on this planet. What percentage of that 7 billion people do you think believes in God?
I would say 6,927,223.
Actually, it's about 6 billion.
Yeah.
So about 15% of people are agnostic or atheist, don't believe in God or don't have a belief about God. But the rest of us, myself included, believe in God. And so now, of course, what that particular belief in God is different depending on a number of things. So my belief in God is not the same as Corey's belief in God, and all you listeners out there will have your own concept of what that is. And so if we look at, and there's a difference between what I would call a programmed belief in God and your own unique connection with the God of your heart, your unique source. And of course, most of those 6 billion people on the planet are actually following a religious doctrine. So just under about 2 billion of them follow some form of Christianity. About 1.5 billion, approximately, I might not have these numbers exactly right, are Muslim. And then we have just under 1 billion who are Hindu, and then a whole bunch of other religious belief systems under them. But they're the top 3 religious belief systems, Christian, Muslim, and Hindu. And of course, they come with a programmed concept of what God is, on the most part. Now, I found this fantastic little thing while we were waiting for the show to come on. And it's, I think it's actually from a Christian website, but anyway, it's quite good because it says, how you can distinguish the top 5 major religions based on their views about God. And it says, Hindus acknowledge multitudes of gods and goddesses, so they are not believing in one single divine being. They are not monotheistic. I guess it's a whole pantheon of gods in the Hindu belief system. And then Buddhists say there is no God. There is no deity for the Buddhists. And then New Age followers, and this made me giggle a little bit, believe they are God. And I guess I would fall into that category. My own belief system is that, not that we are God, but we're all part of God. We're all aspects of God. And then it says Muslims believe in a powerful but unknowable God. And then Christians believe in a God who is loving and approachable. And that made me laugh too, because I think some factions of Christians don't believe in a loving, approachable God, and they believe in a punishing, judgmental God. And so I guess it depends on what faction of a particular religion that you are belonging to.
Maybe what your behavior is at the time.
Yeah. But, the other thing, I sort of Googled a little bit as well, just to get my ideas flowing for this show. And Wikipedia has a page on God and different belief systems around God. And it was so indigestible because it was so intellectually delivered. And I just thought, for the most part, that's what people tend to do. They tend to approach their belief in God from the intellect. And you probably heard me saying on the show before, I love the intellect. It's a great tool. But oftentimes, it's one of the main things that's in between you and your higher consciousness, in between you and your direct knowing of God. And of course, I'm using the word God because it's a word we all know, and yet, like I said at the beginning, it means so many different things to different people. Another interesting fun fact was that in the English language, the word God is derived from a sort of an ancient Germanic language. And the word it's derived from actually means I invoke. To invoke, I invoke.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And if I'd had time, I would have loved to look up the origins of all of the different names that there are for God, because they probably have a different, or they might have a different origin point depending on what the religious belief system is. So what I thought we could explore a bit tonight as well is, so just folks, if you're listening in, open your mind and ask the question, what's my personal belief about God? And see what comes up. See what comes to mind when you ask that question. And then ask a second question. Is this truly my unique concept of what that is for me? Or is it programming? Is it somebody else's? Is this a belief system that was delivered by somebody else? Whether it was your parents, whether it was the religion you were brought up in, whether it is you belong to a particular country or state where there's a particular format of beliefs around this, whether it came from another authority figure like a priest or a teacher. Examine what comes up when you think about what you believe about God, and see how much of it feels like doctrine, how much of it feels like programming, and how much is truly, truly, truly you. Because while you're hanging on to a bunch of beliefs that come from outside of you, you are actually separate. or you have the experience of being separate to some degree from what is your direct relationship with, and again, for want of a better word, God. I like to use the word source energy. Sometimes use the word supreme being. There's some other ways of referring to what we're talking about here. So, and this can be a sensitive subject for people. I know plenty of people, perhaps in the more, let's call it the New Age community, for want of a better word, who have a real knee-jerk reaction to the word God. And it's usually because their concept of God and people that believe in God is a negative one, because they've had some form of doctrine rammed down their throats when they were kids. And you know, as a result of all that, the word God is one of the most heavily charged words that we have in our language, and probably in most languages, because there is such differences in what people believe it to mean, such righteousness and judgments associated with it sometimes as well, and so it really can spark off sort of big reactions in people.
So it's interesting, the reactions you talk about. Sometimes the community that has the greatest negative reaction is a firm believer in the fact that God, quote unquote, gave them free will. But if your will is not the same as theirs, then
I find that so interesting. Exactly that many of the programmed groups of religion believe that their doctrine is the sole correct doctrine.
Oh, they all do.
Yeah,
every religion is based on that.
I kind of have an issue with that. In my practice, I teach people to meditate, and through meditation, have their own direct connection with divinity. And so then they don't need to listen to anybody else's ideas about what it is. They can directly experience what it is for them. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? You know, I remember I spoke to one young woman a few months ago, and it really stuck in my mind, because she was, and I'm not bashing any religion or other. It just so happens that it seems like the examples I'm using are a bit based on the Christian faith. But she said, when I talked about having your own direct connection with God, she said, well, we are ignorant like children, and we have to sort of give ourselves up over to doing what God wants us to do, because we're not kind of capable in our own right, or some such thing like that. And I just I felt sorry, because
how do you know? How do you know what God wants you to do unless you're in touch with that?
Yeah, well, because I think in that case, and often the case, it's coming from an intermediary between the individual in the religion.
I don't know how well that works all the time.
Right? So it's the priest that tells you, or the imam who tells you, or the minister who tells you, or the shaman who tells you.
Or John Jones that tells you.
Well, exactly. And that's never a good thing, because that person's welcome to their own. Yeah. And, and you bring up an interesting subject. We'll just talk about him for a minute and then move on to the ads. But, let's see, the spiritual journey is not without its challenges. And sometimes when a person opens up to that direct connection with God, and it's their unique connection and their unique information, they can feel so amazed at how it's possible for them to know and to connect. They start to believe that they know what's right for everyone, not just for themselves. So instead of, so it's saying, oh, what a fantastic experience, I'm having direct communion with the divine. Wow, everyone can do this. They say, that must mean I'm special, and that must mean that I need to impose these beliefs on other people. And everyone is searching, aren't they? We're all searching for a connection. And so, they can end up with a group of followers, because they're searching for their answers. They're searching, they want to feel better, they want that divine connection. They think it comes through that guru. And look what ends up happening. You end up drinking the Kool-Aid and coming back to try again.
It's weird. On the way in today, we passed a really big church, and sometimes I pass these big churches, and they're, I guess, Christian-based, just straight Christian-based churches. And I asked myself the question, why is one church so big and another church so small? And what actually came to me was, I think, the truth of it. And the truth of it is, who's the better, and I use this term really lightly, for the lack of a better, who's the better communicator or entertainer? A lot of churches you'll go to, people go because the music is great. It sounds, and it's true. I mean, we do it because we feel it makes us feel good inside, which we then translate into I feel good spiritually, whereas it's not really necessarily a spiritual nature, because people haven't looked into themselves deep enough to see what's spirituality, what's the difference between spirituality and entertainment.
Yeah, or community. They're looking for community, a sense of belonging,
home cooking,
a sense of identity and a label they can attach for themselves. And what tends to happen is they end up merging with the group and being the same as the group, instead of, like you said, going on that internal journey to discover who they are.
It's so much easier to become, to fall in line. People don't think it is. I used to use the semblance of, like if you were an alcoholic, and I put 10 glasses in front of you, 9 were liquor and 1 was water, you'd have a problem choosing which one you want, right? Yet if you're non-alcoholic and don't drink, the choice would be very simple. And so it's the same thing with religion. If you are a firm believer in something and a particular following, then the choice is so very simple. I choose the glass of water. I choose the Kool-Aid. But we're not talking about religion. We're talking about God. So.
Yeah, well, we delved into religion because that's so relevant to the subject of God, in a way. Because of the 6 billion people who are believers in God, most of them are following a religious doctrine. And I don't know how many of those through that religious doctrine are able to have their direct connection with God. Because I'm painting a sort of polarized view here. And I'm sure many of the individuals within those religions are having a wonderful experience and connection with God, and of course it's exactly right for them.
And how many of them are falling asleep in the pews on Sunday, and taking that belief system out into the world when they do, which is always the question I asked.
Anyway, it's time for the ads. So we're going to go to the ads, and then we'll come back and we'll take your calls on 604-504-7441, extension 4142, and this is Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley.
And for those people who don't know, it's every Tuesday at from 7 to 8.
Hello listeners, welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. I'm Dr. Lesley Phillips and I'm your host, and we've been talking about God this evening, and you're welcome to call in and share your perspective on the subject. And you're also welcome to call in with your questions for me and receive an intuitive insight. So, and don't be shy. The phone number is 604-504-7441, extension 4142. And hey, it's great. It's a chance to get some free information. So 604-504-7441, extension 4142. And we get lots of email questions also on info@drlesleyphillips.com. And we were just actually commenting before the show that we've been getting lately. Usually the most frequent questions are about career, life purpose and relationships. But lately we've been getting a lot of healing questions, haven't we, Corey?
Yes, we have. Lots of them. But I've got some older ones that we didn't cover yet, so we're going to go back just a little bit for all the healing ones tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Now, you need to pay very close attention to this one, Dr. Lesley.
Okay.
Okay. So, I'm going to use initials.
Okay.
For this. So, comments, this is from Serena, and Serena says, NM, who was born in 1986, broke up with me right before our first year anniversary of being together and less than a few days before our first Valentine's Day together. I gave him a second chance last year when he broke up with me, and he came back begging for me to come back to him after discovering I met another man who had been in love with me for 2 years. I had a chance with him, SR, who was born in 1966, and almost became exclusive with him. However, NM was convincing and won my heart. As a result, I inadvertently and severely hurt SR, so much that he refuses to speak to me to this day for not choosing him. Yet here I am a year later with my broken heart out in my hands, and NM changed his mind. Even though he says he loves me, please help me obtain some clarity as to what happens next for me and us, in parentheses, if there remains an us. It feels like everything is upside down and without direction.
And with us, she's meaning all three, or
who knows?
One of them in particular. Well, I'll take a look. I'll take a look at the energy, Serena. And if this is from a while ago, who knows? Things might have moved on. I guess I will see. So give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to look at Serena, and I'm going to look at her connection with NM. And I'm going to also look at her connection with SR. So, it's kind of interesting looking at the energetic dynamic. NM looks like he was coming from a second and third chakra orientation, meaning the second chakra is more sexual, emotional, and the third chakra can be, it looks like he was interested in, that's where he was coming from. So the third chakra can be a sort of control type thing. So it looks like he was mostly driven by the idea of, possessing someone, owning them, and, a sexual conquest in a way. And that whole male ego of, I don't want her, but no one else is going to have her either. So that's my read on him. And so I'm seeing him, not, perhaps, well, I don't want to program you in terms of what's the best choice, but I'm seeing that doesn't look like a great match, given what I just said. And I'm seeing that SR is coming from a higher perspective, a more loving perspective, a more mature perspective. And it looks like he genuinely cared for you, and that it was a more holistic relationship, not just based on sex, actually. And I'm seeing he loved you. I am seeing that he loved you, that he loved you, he wanted to protect you, he wanted to be with you, just all of those really great things. And, now, so let's see what happened with you. And it looks like part of what happened was that you had his energy in your space. You had his energy in your second chakra, and you got confused a little bit because you weren't able to have your own clarity about the situation. All that sexual energy looks like it just drew you in. And we talk a lot on the show about the difference between the body and you, the spiritual consciousness that's inhabiting the body. Sexuality and the sex drive is one of those differences. It belongs to the body. And that's one of the wild horses that we have to tame if we want to be running the show from the spiritual perspective. So I'm seeing that your wild horse dominated in this situation. And then if I look at the whole scenario in present time, what I'm seeing is that the wild horse is yet to be tamed, regardless of what's going on in present time in terms of who you're involved with and not involved with. Can often be a deciding factor for you, and that so being able to separate, it's sort of like making the choice from a higher perspective versus from a body perspective, or taking both of them into consideration and not allowing the sex drive to dominate. So I'm seeing that that's what happened. You weren't seeing straight. You were seeing through your certain other parts of yourself. Let's see. And then she wanted to know, here she is with her broken heart and what to do about it. Get yourself in present time, and learn from the experience, really. I'm seeing that the other chap still loves and cares about you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he would now choose you. And I'm seeing that, it's a maturity thing. It looks like doing some healing work on yourself might be the best way to go with this, Serena. So I hope that that's helped you. I have a caller coming through, and so I'm gonna take that call, and we'll see who we get on the line and what they want to ask us about. So here we go, listeners. Just waiting for that call to get passed through. Hello? Hello?
Hi, am I on the air?
Yes, you are. Who am I talking to?
Hi. It's Lori, Lesley.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I know I'm sure I asked a similar question like this before, but, I was on and off with this, person, named Colin, and it's now broken up again, and I just think it's now for good, but I just want to know what might be getting in the way of me just fully letting him go, because, it just seems like this on and off again thing, and, yeah.
How long has the whole relationship since the beginning?
Since the beginning of January.
Okay. Alright, well let me take a look at you and Colin. Just tuning into you. So the first thing that comes up is how much you want to be in a relationship. It looks like you really, really, really want to be in a relationship. In a loving relationship. And so, and so much comes up around this. Like, I want it so much. Why isn't it happening? Or why can't it happen? And let me see. So of course, it's like you have this strong desire, but you also have, there's a vibration of, it's self-invalidation and disappointment connected, into the self-invalidation. And so let me just see. But really, and you know this, it's like in order to get what you really want, you become what you want. So I'm seeing that for you, the healing work is around cleaning up the invalidation from your system and loving yourself more. And I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times before, rolling your eyes, or not.
Yeah, no.
But, that really is the crux of it. And so, and I'm seeing that, again, it's that, in a way, it's that, let's see. See, you know that you know that you're worthy. You know that you're lovable. But you have stored in your earthly vehicle, your energy field, some information that's the opposite of that. And I'm actually seeing that to me, it looks like you're kind of ready to let go of a big, big chunk of it. And
yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah, it feels like it's actually almost like you've pushed a lot of it out in front of you. And it's almost like if you were standing on the edge of a cliff and you pushed that energy out in front of you and you were just about to push it over the cliff so it was gone. That's kind of where I'm seeing you at. And so, let's see what's stopping you doing it. You know what it is? And for you, it's a third chakra thing. For you, it's about, there's some control stuff. Like feeling you need to control it. And feeling that when you're in a relationship, you need to control it. Or when someone else doesn't behave how you would prefer them to, you need to control it. So I'm seeing the anchor point is some control stuff in the third chakra. And so it looks like the key is just letting go of any need to control. So so then we're talking about trusting the universe. You have an enormous desire to create this. You do believe that you can have it, but you also doubt that you can have it at the same time. And so the doubt is what stops it coming to you, and that's part what you're wanting to let go of. And it looks like you'll be able to let go of it if you can let go of your need to control and trust that, that you can have it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But it sounds like I should start with the self-invalidation and then disappointment like that, and then or that I'm not lovable, and then
That's one part of it, but it looks like the anchor point has to do with the control stuff.
Oh, okay. I felt like I was less controlling now, but maybe I am in a different way and I'm just not recognizing it. But
well, there's still this,
we fight a lot, so that could be like a controlling thing.
It's like an energetically hanging on. It's it's almost like you would see that something wasn't working, or see that something was starting to slip through your fingers and then go into control it mode. As opposed to just saying, oh, well, I will just be completely neutral and allow.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, this time he, broke it off, but he sounded very mature, and I don't know if he really meant it, but he was like, that I'm better off without him and everything. So yeah, I don't know if he was I don't know.
Yeah, I think that the best thing is to focus on yourself. That really is, because you can never control, you can never change another person, control another person, but we can change ourselves. And I'm seeing that really that's where the power is for you. It's to learn how to do that. It's to learn how to balance, control your own energy as opposed to try and control things outside of your space.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Great. Well, thank you for calling.
Okay.
It's time for another break, so I'm going to say goodbye and we're going to...
All right.
Yeah, bye.
Talk to you later, Lesley. Thanks.
All right, so we're going to go to another break. Hello listeners, welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. We're taking your calls right now on 604-504-7441 extension 4142. The topic of the evening has been God and the different perspectives people have about God. And so you're welcome to call in and join in and talk about that, to share your unique perspective, or ask us a question about anything you want, really. The two questions we've had so far have been about relationships, but you could ask about anything, really. Can't they, Corey?
They sure can.
What's the next one we've got?
Okay, the next question is from Mary Lou in Miami. Mary Lou says, I'm in desperate need of some guidance. Is it possible for you to tell me what career or field I'm supposed to be focusing in that will also earn me a paycheck? Thank you. Well, hopefully anything will earn you a paycheck.
Okay. All right, Mary Lou. Gosh, if we had you on the line, we'd ask you what you do right now. But in absence of that, I'll just take a look at your energy and see. All right. So there's something interesting about your energy, and I can see that you're at a kind of a crossroads, or you're at a kind of a place of uncertainty. And it looks like you're not quite in the throes of, but at the beginning of a kind of a transformation. And the transformation is about you coming more into yourself and more into your own. So at the moment, I'm seeing a lot of your energy is, it's kind of like you're beside yourself. It's really interesting. It's like, on the one hand, there's you, and on the other hand, there's a bunch of programming that takes up your space. And I'm seeing that that's where the confusion comes from. That if you could let go of the programming, the foreign energy, other people's ideas, cultural stuff, all of that, and just allow your energy to be just cleanly, purely you, there would be clarity. So at the moment there isn't. But I can see your energy, so I'll delve into it and see what comes up. And the symbol that was shown to me was a watering can. And it makes me, and I'm seeing pictures of like a market garden, greenhouses, gardening, market gardening, greenhouses, plants, just, like the typical kind of plant nursery that we all go to, and where you can buy flowers and vegetables to plant in your garden. So something, that's what's coming up actually quite strongly, is having, let's call it green fingers, don't they? So something to do with either growing produce, growing plants in a commercial way. That kind of answers the question, doesn't it, Corey?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess that does, yeah.
What's the next one?
Something by surprise there. Okay, next one is from Aurora. And I like saying that, Aurora. Now, Aurora's comments are, Hi, Lesley. I have been doing a lot of clearing and releasing around career and prosperity. And I'm in a place where I'm ready to move on and choose a different career path that aligns more to my sole purpose. I don't know if there's anything energetically holding me back from this. I work in the corporate world in the construction industry right now as a drafter, and I have signed up for Reiki Level 1 and 2 classes in April. I have also been thinking about starting an e-commerce business. When I think about actually having to go out and talk with business owners and network, I do feel a little uneasy about it, which I'm working on, but I can't seem to get to the root cause of this feeling. Any insight you have would be appreciated.
Well, thank you. That's a great question. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at you. Yeah. So another person in transition, and similar to the last lady, it looks like you're working on releasing the old and bringing in the new, or the new that's more you. And so if you listen to my podcasts, definitely listen to the one on grounding, because I'm seeing that grounding would help you bring more of that newness, anchor it into your present time reality. And so I'm going to look at the idea of the e-commerce business. So let's see. It looks like that is a direction that's in alignment of where you're wanting to go as spirit. It looks like there might be a number of steps that might occur, a chain of experiences in a new direction. But it looks like that e-commerce idea is in alignment with the new direction. The Reiki, I'm seeing, it looks like that's more to do with an awakening of consciousness about energy, and that your higher consciousness already has a ton of information about energy, and you're wanting to get that into your body, and the Reiki will help you do that. I'm not seeing the Reiki be something that's relevant on a professional level, so I'm not seeing that be something to do as a career, but more like consciousness, waking up some consciousness within you, triggering some downloads of your own information, really, for want of a better word. So then, the other part of your question was the anxiety about networking. See, I'm seeing with an e-commerce business, it's not absolutely necessary to do physical networking. I mean, you could, but I'm also seeing that there is a lot of networking that you can do online. And let me just take a deeper look at this e-commerce business. It looks like, I don't know whether you have an idea of, and I'm assuming that this is some kind of online store. I might be mistaken, but that would be my interpretation of e-commerce. And it looks like the other sort of things are moving towards ideas around the e-commerce business fitting in with your interest in Reiki and energy work and spirituality. And I'm going to make something up now, and this is not, I'm making it up just to illustrate. But it's almost like, well, maybe there would be an online yoga store, or a store that sold things to help you meditate, like meditation cushions and incense, or that sold comfortable clothing to meditating. That's an illustration, not what I'm seeing for you. It's an example, but something that you can feel really aligned with what you're selling and passionate about what you're selling. And I'm seeing that when you have something like that, then you naturally want to share it with people because you're believing in it. And also, if it's something that you really understand and get, that the nervousness, the anxiety, goes away. It looks like the anxiety is connected with an idea of needing to be perfect, needing to give the perfect delivery, needing to be the perfect expert, needing to explain it perfectly, and all of that. And it's coming from a place of the past, the current career, just the way that you've been, the expectations in the workplace, and when you don't feel an expert on something, or you don't feel passionate about something, or you feel like somebody else is keeping you on the spot, then it looks like it makes you nervous. But I'm seeing, as you move into this new direction, and you follow your passion, and you're selling to other people with the same passion or a similar passion, that there's a genuine connection, and there's not this be perfect or need to prove yourself energy about it. So I hope that helps, Aurora. We can put in one more quick one, because we've not got Johnny K after us this evening.
I think we do. Isn't he coming back?
Is he? Well, he's not back yet. It's 5 to 8.
Oh, well, in that case we can do another one. Okay.
This is from Tina. Tina says, I'm interested in it's another one about career. Sorry. Tina says, I'm interested in any advice regarding a future career that you have that you're able to offer.
I'll take a quick look.
People making changes in spring.
Yeah, it's a big shift going on right now, folks. We're all experiencing it, me included. So let's take a look at Tina. Oh, so Tina, it looks like you're really, so I want to say you go, girl, because it looks like you're really energized and, ready to go. It looks like a lot of this new energy is already in you and flowing through you. And, I'm seeing two frequencies. One's a bright red and one is a bright golden yellow. I'm seeing the fitness industry. I don't know anything about you, but I'm seeing the fitness industry. I'm seeing fitness training, healthy body. That type of thing is something that's coming up for you that you, that was a simple one also. So I guess we can wrap up now and say you've been listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. We are broadcasting live every Tuesday at 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time across the Fraser Valley. You can live stream us from civl.ca. You can catch our podcasts on drlesleyphillips.com/podcasts. And, go check out the podcast, because there's a lot of information for you to learn from, imbibe, experience, and explore. And in the meantime, you can write to info@drlesleyphillips.com. You can send us questions in advance if you want. And please suggest show topics. And if you live in the area of the Fraser Valley, tomorrow evening at 7 to 8:30 p.m. we have coffee, tea and intuition at Been Around Books on Lowhead Highway in Maple Ridge. It's a free community event. There is no charge for this event. It's called Coffee, Tea and Intuition. You can come have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and meet me and continue to explore the topic of intuition, metaphysics and spirituality.
And we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. on Tuesday.
Thank you for joining us. You've been listening to another Unlocking Your Truth podcast by Dr. Lesley Phillips. For more information, go to our website at drlesleyphillips.com. That's Dr. Lesley Phillips.com, where you can ask questions, send her an email, and there's many free tips on it as well. Come back again.